welcome to episode 139 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC animated universe, co-created by Bruce Timm. I am Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And we're back.
It's nice to see you again.
I know.
It's been a while.
I think this is the longest we've ever gone between recording episodes.
It's almost been a month.
Yeah, because, I mean, for those of you who pay attention, which is the listeners, the only people that know that this exists. Yeah, because we did a double recording for a bonus episode of Thanksgiving.
Before Thanksgiving,
yeah. And then my schedule was insane last week, and I wasn't able to record.
And
so
I was
out
of town.
And you were out of town, yeah. So that's true. Why am I taking all the blame for this?
Because I tried to compromise. I said, hey, can you leave your work and go record like
Right,
I can?
exactly.
What? You can't?
What, you're tethered to a desk? You can't leave? But yeah,
How selfish of you.
Oh, I know. Well, I mean, I'm well established as an incredibly selfish person. So.
Exactly.
But we're back.
We're back. We have so much to talk about.
Oh my God, I know. There's so much news has happened. Let's hit some of like the smaller topics first, because then we're gonna have a lot to talk about in terms of just trailer releases, because everyone loves hearing about people talking about trailers.
Yeah, I mean, we could just react to them.
That's true. Do live reactions.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's put in headphones from my laptop,
yeah. So they can't
hear what we're listening to, and we're not going to describe it.
They have to guess just from the ooze.
Just from the reaction.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, clearly they're watching the No Time to Die trailer because Chris is weeping with joy.
Yeah.
It's the dead giveaway. And then when you're weeping for joy, it'll be for the Mulan trailer.
No, and I'm judging for joy.
The dirt's out already. Oh, now I'm excited to get into it. Okay, let's do some boring shit first. I mean, boring. This is still kind of interesting, but
it's better not be the Power Rangers news. You're calling boring.
No, we'll get to the Power Rangers news, but no, the Flash, the long gestating Flash movie, finally got a release date.
Oh, holy shit!
Yeah,
I don't believe you.
July 1st, 2020.
I absolutely do not believe that.
There is something beautiful about a movie about the fastest man alive taking the longest time ever to get into theaters.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be Ezra Miller. To no one's joy or interest.
I wonder if he's gotten a haircut yet.
No, he refuses.
Yeah.
He's only gotten longer hair.
Yeah.
He's refused to cut his hair up to this point. He's got to have that beautiful wind flap going on behind him. It's now going to be Andy Muschietti directing off of It Chapters 1 and 2.
Fine.
Who the fuck cares?
Yeah. There's no way. When did they start filming?
They haven't.
There's no way that's coming in July.
2022.
I thought you said 2020. Okay, that makes so much more sense.
No, 2022.
I'm like, in 6 months, they want a full feature film?
Racing into theaters.
Yeah.
No,
it's going to be like a 12-minute film.
So even factoring in the ridiculous amount of time for this movie to get made, it's still a long ways out.
Yeah.
But don't worry, it's inevitable.
Yeah, don't worry.
Like the heat death of the universe, the Flash movie is inevitable.
Yeah, in 2 years, there's so much time for new directors to come in.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity. But it's also kind of crazy because you definitely get the sense that maybe the DC films are in a bit of a shakeup right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really surprised they're still sticking with the Justice League version of that character. I mean, obviously they're still sticking with Jason Momoa. They're still sticking with Wonder Woman. So it kind of makes sense. We still don't know what's happening with Superman and Henry Cavill. So I don't know. It's just, what a clusterfuck.
Yeah. And, there's still the hovering Snyder Cut as this dark cloud over Hollywood.
I mean, we talked about it once 2 weeks ago. I guess 3 weeks ago now in the news. We're not even going to cover it again because it's still being talked about.
I don't care.
We said it then. If it ever gets released, I'll watch it out of curiosity, but I don't care. I don't need to see it.
Yeah.
So that got a release date. Shazam 2 got a release date, April 1st of 2022.
All right.
So I guess April worked well for them last time, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. I forgot that movie came out in April, considering that it's more or less a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
Completely forgot it came out that time of year.
Well, yeah, most Christmas movies, not most. I feel like a lot of the big Christmas movies or holiday movies don't come out at the right time. Hocus Pocus came out in July.
What?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? July 1993.
But that movie didn't do well at the box office.
No, it did horrible.
Yeah, it's a cult classic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like other Christmas.
I think Nightmare also didn't come out in like Halloween or Christmas. I feel like that was like August.
What's up with Disney?
I don't know.
They're getting all their release dates wrong.
It's Eisner. Blame Eisner. There was something, I don't think I mentioned this when we talked about Imagineering. There was something so therapeutic for me in episode 3 when you see a person at the Paris rally throwing an egg at Eisner as he's giving his speech. It just like something inside me just like had a nice sigh of relief. It's like,
was that just an
yeah.
angry French person mad that like a massive American conglomerate had taken over land in France to build an amusement park?
Yeah. Oh, people were outraged.
Interesting.
People tried to boycott Disneyland, Euro Disney at the time, for months, and they would do anything to stop construction.
Yeah.
It was a huge clusterfuck.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest,
that park wasn't in the green until like 4 years ago.
right? It still seems odd to have a Disneyland in France.
Mm-hmm.
Those culture clashes just don't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
We're still gonna go at some point.
Oh, absolutely. It's the most beautiful park in the world.
Is it?
That's like, for what each park is known for, that is what it's known for. What? You have Disneyland is the original, is the
Right.
classic park.
Okay.
Disney World is the biggest park.
Okay.
Disney Paris is the most beautiful park.
All right.
Hong Kong is the forgotten park.
It's very noble of them.
Yep. Shanghai is the tallest park because they have the biggest things. Mm-hmm. And then Japan is the best park.
By whose definition?
Mine.
You didn't even go to all of it.
I didn't, but the part that I went to, I can clearly say is the best.
Also, most of those are really shit superlatives. Welcome to the tallest park.
Well, I mean, there's no word for Shanghai yet. That's just the most recent episode of Imagineering talked about, like how the Shanghai culture is so fascinated with just making things as big as possible.
Yeah.
Since they have 3 of the top 10 tallest towers in the world.
I think so. Also, great consonants in that statement there.
Thank you.
The top 10 tallest towers. Mm-hmm. God, it sounds so good.
Thank you. Yeah, so they like a big focus when they were building the Shanghai Park was just make it as big and outlandish as possible. Their Pirates ride is actually like the best version of Pirates.
I've heard that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They showed a little bit of it in the episode, and it looks unbelievable.
Okay.
It's a trackless ride, so there's like your boat just kind of floats around for a bit.
Oh,
It's all done with magnets.
that's amazing. I guess it's still trackless, even if it's magnets. Mm-hmm. But it's on a guided path.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, still on a guided path. You go underwater at one point, where like your boat sinks.
Yeah.
And so you see, like under the, it's beautiful.
All right. Well, again, we'll have to go.
We don't have time for this. We have so much more news to cover.
So much more news to cover, but we have to have at least one 5-minute discussion about a Disney park.
Yes.
Per episode. But what's interesting with the Shazam release date is that it's 4 months after Black Adam, which is coming out in December of 2021. So that means they're going to be filming more or less concurrently, which of course is fueling speculation. There might be some sort of
Part 1, Part 2.
Part 1, Part 2, or some sort of.
I mean, if they're that
crossover
close,
potential.
I'm totally fine with the Part 1, Part 2.
Yeah, and especially if it's Black Adam, the film is setting up that character, and if it's both, and this is pure speculation, I have nothing to go off on this, but say if that movie's sort of like a story about a fall from grace sort of situation, like he's corrupted by the end of it, and then that segues into Shazam 2 where he's the villain, and then it's maybe to some degree a redemptive arc for him, or just him being the villain, then I think that could be really, really interesting.
Yeah, and there's no way they're going to not make The Rock the most charming person there is.
I don't know, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle that, because
I see him being like, the way I imagine the Black Adam story going is he's the cocky hotshot per usual. He's got the smolder, he's got the smile, and then there's some turning point where the gods don't trust him anymore. There's something that happens where he loses his confidence,
yeah,
or the trust of the people, and that's when he starts to go down this dark path. And so you want to see him get redeemed, but then he just becomes he just keeps spiraling into the villain we know.
He becomes the very thing he once sought to destroy.
And so he's still
Citizen Kane.
Yeah, so he still thinks he's
Darth
in the
Vader.
right, which would make such an interesting fight for Shazam, who we know is always in the right.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I guess
Or they're gonna ruin it, a la Joker style,
and just make it super serious.
just make it super serious and him just always bad.
This is I don't think they'll do that. Like my one concern about this is the persona The Rock allows on screen, right? Like I think at this point we don't get a lot of meta Rock. Like we get it mostly in the Jumanji movies.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, most of the characters he plays now are like really self-serious and kind of not in on the joke.
I mean, Central Intel. It's kind of the character that we joke what's his face has taken over.
John Cena.
Yeah, where he's the like very childish one, doesn't realize how strong he is.
Yeah, but that's kind of my point is that now he's venturing into this like more serious space, and so I don't see this being, especially given that it's DC.
What's the last serious movie he was in?
I mean, not that he's in
Baywatch, obviously.
Serious movies, but
Check question, it's Baywatch.
I would even look at just like I think he's more in on the joke for the Fast and Furious movies than say Vin Diesel, who's definitely not in on the joke. But like I think that him being in on the joke has diminished a little bit with each kind of subsequent Fast and Furious film, and then all of like the action movies he does now, like what was the skyscraper one he did, like the Towering Inferno ripoff. Like he plays really serious versions of himself. So I'm just a little bit worried the Black Adam movie, he seems to be very particular about how he's portrayed on screen. And so I don't see this being a movie that will do anything interesting with his persona. I think it's just going to lean into a version that's like not that interesting. And Black Adam as a character doesn't have the same sort of like nod and weak characterization that say Shazam does that allows for that sort of like meta fun commentary.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of worried it's just going to be him just like big and angry and serious for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Which is DC. That's all they do anymore is big, serious, and angry. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe not entirely, given some of the other trailers we've got recently. Okay, but then one little small thing is that Peter Sarsgaard has been cast in the Batman. So I can't remember if he's one of the Sarsgaards or if he's a different Sarsgaard.
No, he's one of them.
Okay, because it's like I forget sometimes because like for example,
because there's one that's not.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's Peter.
Well, it's kind of like the Baldwins. Like Adam Baldwin is not a Baldwin.
I know.
So I thought
he's better than them.
But I thought Peter was the non-Sarsgaard. Because there's Stellan's the dad.
Yep.
And then there's Bill Sarsgaard. Mm-hmm. No, sorry. Bill Sarsgaard and then Alexander Sarsgaard are the kids.
Isn't there like a Stefan Skarsgård?
Well, there's Stellan, who's the dad, which you just said. And he's in Thor. And he's in everything. I love Stellan Skarsgård. But I'm pretty sure I was pretty sure that
A Brief Guide to the Skarsgård Family.
Thank God. It's not that brief. It's huge. Wait, so we know Papa Sarsgaard.
Yeah. So we have Alexander, Gustav, Sam, Bill, Aja, and Walter.
Okay. No Peter.
All right.
Okay, so Peter Sarsgaard is the non-Sarsgaard Sarsgaard. Yes. Okay.
Well, official Skarsgård hotness rating, 6 scars.
Oh, well, hang on. I mean, I don't know most of them, but number 1, Alexander.
Yeah, he had the 6 scars.
It is 2 Bill.
Oh, I don't agree with this. They gave Gustav Skarsgård 10 scars out of 10.
Oh, hang on,
looks like that.
He's pretty handsome.
Yeah, but not that handsome.
Wait, he was listed above Alexander?
Yeah.
What? No.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no more handsome Skarsgård than Alexander Sarsgaard.
Exactly. I don't know who's making this list, but they have a very specific type, and it's wrong.
It's wrong. I bet it's written by someone who thinks that Liam Hemsworth is the hottest Hemsworth.
Yeah.
One of those.
Oh yeah, because they definitely have a
crazy
thing for
fools.
like the smaller type. Because they gave Bill Skarsgård 7 scars out of 10, which is one more scar than Alexander.
No, I'm sorry, no. Look, if someone were to tell me that Stellan Sarsgaard is the best Sarsgaard, I would be open to hearing that conversation because I do love him, and he's got his own handsomeness thing for an older gentleman. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm sorry, it's Alexander, 100%.
Yeah. Absolutely.
God, I refuse. Well, anyways.
Now that we got that out of our system.
Yeah, Peter Sarsgaard, the non-Sarsgaard, has been cast in The Batman. We don't know who yet. Fan speculation or just general speculation is that he might be Harvey Dent, which I had read at one point a rumor that Matthew McConaughey might be in the running for that, but I never saw that manifest in any sort of way, so I don't know if that's actually true or not. But it'd be interesting to see if we end up getting a Harvey Dent cast, because if we do get one, that almost like clinches the idea that this is basically just a long Halloween movie, which I will reiterate, I am here for.
Well, we had a brief conversation last night about it. I think Oscar Isaac would make such a great Harvey Dent.
He would. He absolutely would. Mm-hmm. God damn it, he's so handsome.
He is. Can you imagine that face getting hurt? Break my heart.
I mean, it would, but he would still be so handsome.
Yeah. They would do it in the same way they had the big horrible scar from Ready Player One.
Oh yeah, I'm hideous.
I'm hideous.
Don't look at me.
Honestly, I can't even tell.
Yeah. What if it's just kind of like Calendar Girl from the new Batman Adventures, where she thinks she's hideous? Like Oscar Isaac is Harvey Dent, like he gets like a little like a slight burn on like his left side of his cheek. And all of a sudden
it just looks like he's blushing.
I'm ruined. Yeah. No one will think I'm pretty anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but he's so pretty.
He'd also be a great Clayface.
Oh, he would. Let's be honest. He'd be great at everything.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what he would be great at.
Name a Batman character that he could not play. He could be Batman. He could be Harvey Dent.
Yep.
He could be Clayface. He could be Catwoman.
He could be Gordon.
He could absolutely be Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
He would be a great Dick Grayson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He'd be a great older Damian Wayne.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he could do Con McKing. He's not tall enough.
I disagree, sir. That man is flawless.
He's too versatile.
And he does have a really good sense of humor. He could absolutely nail the tone of Condiment King.
Yeah, but I think he's too good looking for Condiment King.
But that would become a whole other level of the joke. It's like, sir, you're far too attractive to be this crazy wearing this ridiculous outfit.
Yeah.
Plus, he'd be one of those people, like one of those really, really attractive people that dresses really shitty because they can get away with it because they're still really, really attractive.
Yeah.
Or like the super hot guys with like ugly man buns, really terrible facial hair, or like really horrible dated glasses or something like that.
Are you just describing Andrew Garfield?
Yeah. Pretty much. It's like, you're so handsome, you can get away with like having you could just like roll out of a garbage heap and still be so handsome that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Some of us have to put in a lot of fucking work. Okay.
Yeah, constantly.
It's still so far short. By the way, your hair looking very good today, Cam.
Thank you.
It's looking really, really solid. Mm-hmm. On point.
Thank you.
Good.
I was going to wear my Santa hat, but I'm like, no, I'm having a good hair day right now.
You're having a great hair day.
Yeah.
Don't put that bad boy away. Okay. The last little bit of non-trailer news.
Oh my God, we haven't even gotten to the trailers yet. Holy shit, Chris,
So
we gotta speed this up.
I just saw this. There's so much Sarsgaard conversation.
I know.
God forbid a Sarsgaard goes to Disneyland. We'll never talk about anything.
Welcome back to the
else.
Scar scandal.
But anyways, the last little bit of news, just saw this morning, is that there's rumor now, or I don't know if it's rumor or just like low-level industry scuttlebutt, that Paramount and Hasbro, because Hasbro now owns Power Rangers, are working on another reboot of the Power Rangers. And the rumored plot, again, don't know where this is coming from, is that the cast of the Rangers will get transported back to the 90s. And then maybe while they're there, that's when they get like their suits and powers and everything like that.
Sure.
I honestly,
I mean, I really liked the cast that we had.
I did too. It's like not a great movie, but it's a great cast.
Yeah.
And there's potential. Just like follow on from that, like shift the tone a little bit, make it a little less gritty, maybe do a slight redesign of the uniforms, which is very easy to do given that like they magically appear out of nowhere on them anyways. Mm-hmm. And, you know, make it like a little bit more playful, make Tommy a girl, throw that element in there. I think there's something great to be done there. Like, it is a shame. I think they're throwing away like some good potential, but also that movie did not make any money. So
I know. And I even saw it twice.
I think I did too, actually. I'm pretty sure I saw it twice. But like, I mean, is this not now how everything goes, right? It's a long dead property. They do a complete reboot that doesn't work, and then they follow it up with a second reboot that it's either a continuation of the old franchise or like harkens back closer to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens all the time. Like that's happening with Ghostbusters, which we'll get to shortly in terms of the trailer. There's rumors about that happening with RoboCop. Like there's been talks. There was at one point there is a RoboCop movie coming down the pipeline from. It was going to be Neil Blomkamp, and then he's been replaced by a different director whose name I cannot recall. But like that's going to be like a RoboCop return sort of thing. Like, okay, we're going to set it in the same continuity as like the original RoboCop movie and throw out whatever sequels we don't want.
Can we use this as a slight platform for me to talk about Sonic for a second?
Sure.
So did you see the remade trailer?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks fine.
It looks great. Do you also know that the studio had to shut down because they overworked all their employees so much?
I did read about a Vancouver-based, is it Vancouver or Toronto-based VFX company that specializes in hair.
Yeah.
It's like hair and like flowing hair, fur, that sort of thing, and that they had to shut
that was
down.
the original studio that did the first trailer.
Okay.
Then there was the horrible fan backlash, and they fucking burned these animators into the ground to rework the entire film
Yeah.
in the past 5 months. And then to respond, the studio fired everyone and then claimed bankruptcy and shut down. Which, like, it's on one hand, it's nice to see a studio listen to the fans.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we can't reward this kind of behavior of studios to just grind their workers
Right.
only to...
Because the film studio didn't fire everyone and shut down. The VFX company did, right?
Yeah, the VFX, I mean, everyone just... no one could work anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone just left.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that's really shitty is that now that studio has gotten shut down. All those people are fired. Like the article, like is an article or like a long post that I read about it was also commenting the fact that, a lot of the people that were working there weren't from Canada. So now they have to like completely uproot their family and move somewhere else because the job they had there shut down. There's only so many VFX houses to go to in terms of employees. Some of them get absorbed by the actual film studio itself, but most of them don't have jobs anymore. And it's just like someone made a really stupid call a year ago in terms of how they designed that thing.
No, probably 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
actually.
animation takes so long.
Animation takes so long. Yeah. So someone made a really terrible call in terms of the studio, put out this trailer, then decided they had to fix it because they didn't want to like make their money. So then that cost this really important VFX studio actually, because like that's their whole thing is they specialize in like every like Lion King everything. Like anytime you see animated fur, they were the ones that did it.
Yeah,
they're now shut down. Also, that this film studio can probably lose less money on this Sonic movie.
I don't know. It's like it's so upsetting because it's something that happens in the video game industry constantly.
Oh yeah,
is the idea of like the grind and the burnout. Where like we are past the boom of studios now, where now like it's kind of just the big players are left.
Yeah,
it's sad, but I don't know how to fix it. So
no, I don't. Yeah, and
how do you fix it, Chris?
If I knew, we wouldn't be talking.
Give
this
me
podcast.
the answer.
But I mean, speaking of huge studios, should we talk some trailers?
Let's talk some trailers.
I kind of
let's go to the pleasant side of this.
Let's do. I think you and I both care the least about Ghostbusters. Should we do that real quick?
Yeah. We talk about Paul Rudd and Stranger Things.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this is basically just Stranger Things with
It
Ghostbusters.
is. That's all we're gonna get. I think for the next 6 years, that's all we're gonna get. It's just it's just Stranger Things with X.
Yeah, with some existing property.
Yeah.
Look,
it was Stranger Things with a different monster.
Yeah.
This is Stranger Things with ghosts and Paul Rudd.
It looks fine.
Paul Rudd looks great.
Yeah, I mean, he always looks great.
Do you think the twist is he's a ghost and that's why he hasn't aged?
I'm so on board for that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, actually, that fits too because no one's afraid of a Paul Rudd ghost.
Exactly. He's so charming.
Quite the opposite.
That's gonna be the thing because like the kids are gonna be so afraid of the ghost, and then the twist at the end is like, oh no, I've been a ghost this whole time.
You're like, oh,
it's like, but you're so nice and charming. He's like, yes, so we're all the ghosts.
Yeah. It's a PSA.
Yeah. But if that happens, they also need Taika in there.
Oh yeah.
Because he has to be like, I'm a ghost, mate.
You just wanted an excuse to do it.
That was a horrible Taika.
It was, but points for trying.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this looks fine. Like it looks entertaining. Clearly their grandfather is going to be one of the former Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. Bill Murray, your guess?
I was going to ask. Yeah, it's probably Bill Murray.
Yeah. Well, because
I don't think anyone else wants to do it anymore.
So we've obviously lost Harold Ramis. He's sadly passed since then. So it could be him because he's the only one that wouldn't still be around.
I could maybe see Dan Aykroyd coming back.
Yeah.
But I mean, Bill's going to be in it somewhere.
Yeah, he'll be in it somewhere.
Yeah, he's not doing anything else right now.
Yeah. Also, and like it's worth commenting. I don't think either of us really liked the Paul Feig movie.
No.
I've said this before that I'm actually not the biggest Paul Feig fan in general. That movie, like, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great either.
It was just boring.
It was just kind of boring, but there was enough stuff there that I like, kind of like with Power Rangers. Like, I would have watched a second one. Like, I would have gone in a little bit skeptical, but like sometimes low expectations is nice, actually. Mm-hmm. That is still a charming cast, and there was enough pieces in there that were really good. Mostly Kate McKinnon and Chris Hemsworth. Yep. But like, I would have revisited it a little bit. I think it needed like a little bit more polished. I think they needed to make Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy feel like different characters and like lean into that a little bit more. But I would have watched some more of it. So I'm kind of disappointed that we're not gonna get more of it. But now, hang on. Do you think that at a certain point, if this new version does well,
they're gonna meet?
They're gonna do a follow up where it's like universe crossing.
Oh, multiverse?
Yeah,
it's so hot right now.
Multiverses are super hot right now.
Yeah.
We'll get more. Actually, we won't get to that this week.
I mean, I can just give my blank statement now. Crisis is horrible.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of it yet.
It's bad. Don't waste your time.
We'll do it once all of them have come out. We'll talk about that.
I thought Titans had been bad up until now, and then I remembered going back to CW shows, and I'm like, oh, it's worse writing with less budget. Yeah. Okay.
When we actually got a question from Benjamin David on Batman Above and Beyond. Mm-hmm. We're going to address his question once Crisis is over, because it's just kind of about the DC TV stuff in general. Okay. We're going to have a long conversation about that down the way. Great. Just to warn you, Cameron.
Great.
Get prepared.
I got my guns loaded.
As the only man who's actually watching a lot of it still. You're prepared for this.
This is my first time going back.
You watched Titans. You watched all of season.
I just finished Titans last night.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, we'll get to it.
I don't know if I can do it anymore.
We'll get to it. Okay, Ghostbusters, whatever. It looks fine. We'll end up seeing it. Now let's do Black Widow. What'd you think?
Oh, I forgot about Black Widow.
Did you watch the Black Widow trailer?
I did. Yeah. Well, so they showed footage and that trailer at D23. Okay. And I think also at Comic-Con. Mm-hmm. And then they just had a new Comic-Con come out.
It's like Brazil Comic-Con. It's like CCX. And that's where they premiered the Wonder Woman trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, they had that. That's where they premiered Free Guy.
Yeah. Also looks fun.
Yeah, there was that. I don't know if you saw the video of Ryan Reynolds almost getting like trampled on.
No, I did not.
The fans were freaking out in front of because he was like walking up the stairs and they had the barrier set up.
Yeah.
And the fans just shoved the barrier over.
Oh, damn.
And it almost like snapped on Ryan Reynolds.
He's an international treasure.
Yeah.
Don't take it from us.
Yeah, he's okay.
Okay, good.
Maybe a little traumatized.
Yeah, probably.
But no, Black Widow looks good. I like Dan Harbour, is that his name? David
Harbour, yeah.
I like him a lot.
He's good. I'm super excited for him in it. It's funny because about 90% of that trailer doesn't even feel like a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
It really just looks like a spy thriller. And the only time it felt Marvel-esque was that one shot of her like free falling through the air with like debris all around her and all that stuff going off. Like this feels like this sort of like kind of crazy big budget stuff that maybe was a little over the top occasionally.
Do you think this is how they're going to walk Black Widow out of the DCAU? Sorry, the MCU.
MCU? What do you mean?
So she has a sister we see in the trailer.
Yeah.
Who is the exact same character.
Yes.
But blonde.
Yes.
And a little younger.
Yes.
Is this going to be the switcheroo of we need to keep a Black Widow-esque character?
Probably.
But we don't want to pay ScarJo anymore.
Yeah. Well, let's also give her credit that maybe she's ready to kind of like move on
that too.
To new things. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what everyone is assuming is going to happen right now is that we're going to get new versions of people introduced. We've already gotten some confirmation that obviously we're getting the new version of Thor with Natalie Portman, which we are both very excited for. If the Hawkeye show actually ends up happening, it's going to be Kate Bishop, and we assume that she's going to kind of take over the mantle in some degree. Mm-hmm. I think they might wait a while before they do say like an Ironheart, which I could totally see them doing, the Riri Williams character.
Yeah.
But I think right now Spider-Man is going to kind of fill that role, and they still have him to some degree, given the turnaround that happened there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, it's totally possible they're going to introduce this new version, and then I think they are introducing her, and then they're going to see what happens with it and whether they set her up to be part of
the bigger universe,
larger team. Which Kevin Feige said, of course, they're already like well underway in figuring out what their next team up movie is going to be. Mm-hmm. But it could be like it's weird because like I'm not crazy excited for this movie. Obviously, I'm gonna see it, and I'll probably get more excited as we get closer. But I'm okay if they really decide, like, from this point on, we're gonna like maybe shrink things down a little bit and just lean harder into genre.
Yeah. But what about the big portals in the sky?
I'm done. I don't need big portals in the sky
When
anymore.
is the last time we saw a portal? I feel like I haven't seen one in a while. I
I
think
mean-
Hollywood finally realized it's a dead trope.
It's a dead thing. I mean, I feel like Suicide Squad was one of the last big ones to do it, right?
That would have been 2016.
Was there a big portal in the sky at Justice League?
Yes.
Then that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably it.
Well, there's another thing we can add to the list of things killed by Justice League. Portal trope.
And so the fight scene. So you see the beginning of the fight scene in the trailer. They showed that at D23.
Oh, okay.
It's great. It feels very Kill Bill.
Okay. Kill Bill?
Yeah, that the fight between
Her and the Crazy 88?
no. When she's fighting in the house. The very beginning.
Oh, when she's fighting Vivica A. Fox's character?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
the fight
it-
between the sisters.
Yeah. That fight
Oh,
feels
okay.
very like similar to that, where they're like using props around the kitchen.
Okay. That sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, it is pretty
No,
fun.
I mean, I think it's going to be good. Like, it looks kind of in the same vein as like a John Wick sort of movie or a James Bond or like an Atomic Blonde. And
I was gonna bring Atomic Blonde is
I'm
so good.
It is so good. So I'm here for it. I think it looks good. Wonder Woman.
I knew you were gonna save the other one for last.
Yeah.
I liked
No,
it.
I'm going to save Mulan for last, actually.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wonder Woman looks great. I
Yeah.
don't know what to add that hasn't already been said everywhere on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, it looks really fun, which I think we needed. I like her costume.
Yeah.
It's a little bit brighter, a little more colorful.
I think the big question that everyone's trying to answer is how is Steve Trevor back?
Yeah. And the trailer implies that it has something to do with Maxwell Lord, that maybe he is kind of granting wishes or like making people's fantasies come true, right? Because we kind of get this very Selena Kyle-esque transformation from Cheetah
Yeah.
as well.
My thoughts, if I want to throw my hat into the speculation,
Which is what else are we here for?
is it's going to be similar to Justice League Doom, where
okay.
it's I think Wonder Woman was injected with something to make
Okay.
her think she sees
Oh, interesting.
Trevor.
I think he's actually there. I think it's...
I think it's actually him.
I don't know, because the problem is then they have to, kill him again?
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking like it'd be so much more tragic for her to have this and almost Spider-Man 2 style have this relief of like this burden that's been keeping me up is saving the world because of you. Now you're back. Why do I need to still do this?
Yeah. It's,
Hang up the whip.
Yeah, I could totally see them just forgetting about Justice League, and he's like, oh, he's back.
Yeah.
Because the problem is that we've already had his tragic departure once. So to do it again, you're just retreading something that's already come before. Like even the MCU is pretty smart about how they dealt with the Steve Peggy thing. About like, she was back in Winter Soldier, but obviously was much, much older. And, their relationship was just in a totally different manner. And even when they finally did get back together, like it was for a finality to it. It wasn't like, oh, she's back and then gone again.
Yeah.
So I'd be worried about them doing something like that. But I mean, look, it looks super fun. Love that cast. Always good to have some Pedro Pascal in there. Chris Pine, charming as ever.
As always.
Yeah. Very excited to see what they do with Kristen Wiig and
Me
Cheetah.
too. I think she's going to be great.
Because they put out that character poster of her in like cheetah print clothing, but you feel like there at some point she's gonna do the full-on transformation.
She
right?
has to.
I mean, they've perfected it with cats. So
They have. They absolutely have. Oh man.
What if they did?
This is the crossover?
No, what if they actually did have a full-on like cat cheetah version of Cheetah in the movie, and then the cat trailer came out and they're like, we can't do this.
Oh shit, we messed up.
Yeah. And not because not in the same way of sometimes movies will change things because something is super good at it. It's like there's been talk before about how in X-Men First Class they had this astral fight between White Queen, between Emma Frost and Professor X, but they took it out because Inception was so big.
Oh.
I think it was Inception, like something like
So that would be Inception
Yeah.
was 10. First Class was 11.
Yeah, exactly. So what if that's the same case, but the opposite side of things, where like that cat effect is so shitty, like we can't do this. Like this has become a joke. We have to take it out.
Well, that's what happened to Atlantis.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So for the story that people don't know, Katzenberg, America's asshole, stole.
How do you really feel about it?
That's how I
Who do you
always refer
hate more?
to him. Oh, Katzenberg.
Okay.
Through and through.
You're not going to be a big Quibi adoptee when it comes out?
A big what?
Quibi.
What is Quibi?
What? You know about Quibi?
So.
Quibi is the new platform from Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman.
Oh.
And so the idea is that it's like short for quick bites. So it's all really short form.
Oh, it's new TikTok?
Yeah, kind of. It's like targeted toward it's targeted at millennials who have no attention span. So it's all like 10-minute little segment things.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Anyways.
No, Katzenberg, right as he was leaving Disney back in 1994, he had a meeting with John Lasseter and basically asked him, hey, what's everyone working on? And got the lowdown of everything and went to Spielberg the next day, probably not literally, but shortly after, started DreamWorks. And that's how we had the Ants Bugs Life clone.
Yeah.
Started working on that immediately. We were supposed to get Atlantis before Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
But Road to El Dorado came out, and that was the original idea for Atlantis. It was supposed to be this like musical discovery.
Yeah.
So they completely scrapped that and started over. So you had Shark Tale, Finding Nemo come out parallel.
Oh, that makes sense.
There's a couple more that I can't think of right now.
Also, like Disney definitely won all of those battles, anyways.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I like Road to El Dorado more than Atlantis.
Really? You love Atlantis?
I love Road to El Dorado.
Oh, okay, I've never seen it.
It's Elton John. Elton John does the soundtrack.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, we talked about it. Our still to this day our most random episode of single artist soundtracks. Very proud of that episode. Okay, let's try and get to the last list here. Okay, I will be brief. The No Time to Die trailer came out.
I have not watched it yet.
What the fuck? Did you deliberately not watch it? You son of a bitch.
I just wanted you to, I didn't want to cut you off in any way. I just wanted you to do you, and I'm just going to be here drinking my water.
But now we can't have a tete-a-tete about it. There's no back and forth.
Yeah, that's okay. Because the thing is,
these are supposed to be dialogues, not monologues, Cameron.
Here's the thing of like when I go on my Disney passion, you were also already passionate about Disney, just not on the same level.
You son of a bitch.
Whereas when it comes to James Bond, you are on such a high platform that, and I'm pretty nonchalant about it. It would be a disservice for me to even try. Who are you calling?
I'm calling Shane.
It's gonna be such bad audio.
I don't care. Also, if he doesn't answer this bit, it just falls flat entirely. Hi, Shane. You're on the podcast.
Oh, yes, hello. Can I help you,
gentlemen? Cameron didn't watch the No Time to Die trailer, and I was mad about that. So I needed to get someone else on air to have a conversation with me about it because he refused. So Shane, what did you think about the No Time to Die trailer?
Oh man, the hopes are high.
It looks so good.
I can't even express how many amazing different action sequences, how many electric outfits, and just the potential for different story elements to really just come in and subvert my expectations.
Fantastic. What's your favorite outfit from the trailer?
I think it's got to be the suspenders look when he's doing the shooting the eye kind of look thing.
Oh, I know, right? I'm here for the suspenders. I'm here for the blue knit sweater. Okay, follow-up question.
Actually, you know what I'm here for? The Rami Malek wearing a Phantom of the Opera mask. That's my
favorite. Yeah, that does look pretty fantastic.
Rami Malek's in it?
Yeah, you would know that if you watched the fucking trailer. Okay, Shane, follow-up question. Favorite Aston Martin from the trailer?
I'm always a DB5 guy, man.
DB5, solid choice. How do you feel about the miniguns and the headlights?
I was like, this thing's a little ridiculous. Like, how did he end up in that situation? But then when he does the spin, it's all okay. It's all forgiven.
So good. All right, and then favorite moment?
The panel where, Rami Malek with the mask walking over the ice, and then James swimming up under it, and him like shooting the gun. I'm like, ooh, I don't know how we end up here. I'm intrigued.
God, the mystery. It's so tittling. Cannot wait. All right.
What about you?
My favorite moment is when he does that like motorcycle leap off the staircase.
Oh, that is sick.
With
the shot, like the helicopter shot.
Looks so good.
Yeah.
And they have a nice like modernized like twist on the score, which I always really appreciate. So.
Oh man, wouldn't it be cool if Cameron watched that trailer?
Wouldn't it be amazing? No, he's playing Farmville on his phone.
No, it's a Disney game.
I should have guessed. All right. Well, thank you, Shane, for your live commentary. Always appreciated.
Of course, gentlemen, enjoy the podcast.
Thanks, Shane.
Thank you. Bye.
Are you satisfied?
I'm very satisfied. Do
Great,
you want to talk Mulan?
Sure, we can talk Mulan for a minute.
Okay. What don't you like about it?
I don't like them including magic. I wanted this to be, because Mulan, in my opinion, is the the only Disney movie you can do with no magic attached.
Okay.
And they didn't want to bring Mushu in.
Okay.
Which I understand. They wanted this to be more realistic.
Yeah.
But then in the trailer, you see a woman turn into a phoenix.
Yeah.
And not
an owl, actually, or a falcon.
It's a phoenix.
No. Kelly Hu's character, she turns into a falcon.
Okay.
I literally just rewatched it this morning.
I haven't watched it since it came out. How dare you? And there's that awesome shot where the villain, who's not the normal villain, like runs up the side of a wall, which looks awesome.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I don't want magic.
No, I get it.
Other than that, it looks great.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting not having music attached.
Yeah, that will be interesting. I liked that they incorporated the song into the score. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see if they do that in the movie. I'm sure Reflection will still be the through score of the film. I'm very curious if they're still going to do a montage, because that is the best montage in film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made a man out of all of us, Cameron.
It did.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I'm optimistic, but I'm not like jumping out of my seat for this movie.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not super crazy excited about it, but yeah, it might be something. They've been doing pretty decently on these more recent adaptations. I've liked them more than you have.
Yeah, I have not liked them yet.
All right.
I still have not watched Lady and the Tramp, and I've heard it's very okay.
Yeah, the fact that it sounds mean to say this, but the fact they relegated it to Disney Plus
says a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Should we finally get into our...
Let's talk about our episodes.
Yeah. All right. So first up is Winds of Change. So this sees a new Bang Baby going by the name Slipstream show up in town to wreak havoc. But the real main thrust of the story, though, is about friction between Virgil and Richie, because like heartbreaking. Yeah, it's just kind of they don't really get into the root cause of it, which I think is actually kind of nice. We just know that there's some friction there. So Virgil feels like Richie's kind of hanging around all the time, and he wants to go live a normal life. He wants to spend time with Daisy, and Richie only wants to do training and be super obsessed with the static stuff. And then, maybe from like Richie's perspective, it's a little bit of him feeling like kind of like just the lonely sidekick. He doesn't have the powers. He's not like the cool guy or whatever. They kind of allude to a lot of this without really getting into it, which I appreciate. Because I feel like this sort of stuff happens with friends. Where it's just like
I absolutely around when this episode came out back in middle school, I had the same kind of unnecessary squabble with my best friend.
No, Cameron, I have to ask you.
It's not you. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm aware of that.
Yes.
We have all of our squabbles on air.
That's true.
But no, I was going to ask you, did you force a squabble because you watched this episode and wanted to?
No, it was all coincidental.
Okay.
Neither of us have superpowers that I can talk about on air.
Oh, fair enough. Absolutely, yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day. What do you think is the most superpower-esque trait humans have at the moment?
What? Like what is something that humans can do, or like who is a person that exists in the real world that is closest to having like superhuman abilities?
Yes. Two. Sorry, the second one.
I mean,
or even just like a specific trait that is very rare for people. So like my thought was people that have like perfect pitch. They can just hear a sound and immediately know the note and immediately can replicate it.
Okay.
I feel like that is a superpower in itself.
Okay, yeah. I think that's there. There was the guy who recently broke like the record for a marathon, right?
Yeah, did a marathon under 2 hours.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty insane.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's like the various people that have like their random thing where because there was the show Stanley Superpowers.
Yeah.
Back 10 years ago now, where there was like that guy that ran a marathon in ice in his underwear. Like he doesn't feel cold or whatever.
I feel like you basically just posed a chive compilation as a question.
Yeah.
I think that's basically what we're talking about. It's like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe these crazy cool things that people can do.
Yeah.
Like this guy can do like a 900 on a skateboard.
Yeah. But a lot of people can do that now.
Okay. I mean, I know Tony Hawk was like the first one they could do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then everyone could in the video game.
Exactly.
And then people aspire to live that real life.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that perfect pitch one's a pretty good one because I feel
because that's something you don't like train for.
You just have.
You're just kind of born with it.
Yeah. Kind of like Elton John, at least according to Rocket Man.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a good answer.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
There's no point to that. I was just
no.
I've been thinking about that for like the past week, and I'm like, I need a place to just talk about
Oh, and you were worried
you
you hadn't padded out the podcast enough. So
exactly.
Let's throw in some more. But no, like I think one of the things that I like about what Static does is it really does focus on the character dynamics more so than like the villain plots.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is no villain plot. Like they just introduce Slipstream in the most weird way possible also.
Yeah, with the most forced joke.
Like I forgot to look this up, but I think he's supposed to be modeled on Fat Albert, right?
I could see that.
I'm pretty sure he is. So it's just like he shows up in what is it, the Burger Fool?
Burger Fool, yeah.
Like stealing his friend's food, and eventually like, no man, you're just like some big fat windbag. And
No,
as
he
soon
said
as
you're a big bag of wind.
that's it.
It's like, what is that insult?
It's not a good one. And then as soon as he does that, all of a sudden he has wind powers. I'm like, okay, this is kludgy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just going around just like stealing food and like robbing banks and terrorizing
I do
people.
love the news reporter following them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we have our new big villain in Dakota City, where is it? He's attacked 2 chicken char kings, a fudge store, and the First National Bank.
Oh, but you didn't pick up the name of the fudge store. It was Booker T. Fudge, presumably named
so
after
good.
Booker T. Washington.
That's so good.
Is that kind of insulting?
Maybe a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe but I just thought that was ridiculous. But yeah, they're chasing him around. He also has like the most over the top garish costume.
Yeah, and that Static does this. That was my joke of the episode.
Wait, what was it?
What do you think you're doing besides cornering the market on spandex?
Oh, okay. My pop culture reference of the episode was when Slipstream is getting ready to like wind up some like crazy wind power. It's like, all right, get ready for a trip to Oz. It's like, oh man,
That's good.
Capitalizing on that Warner Brothers IP.
Absolutely.
Like he's a dumb villain, but they also play him kind of silly.
Yeah, he's not meant to be a serious threat in any way. He's never excuse me. He's never doing something at the expense of like another person.
Yeah.
He's just like, nah, I'm hungry. I just want to get some food.
He's just like selfish and a nuisance.
Yeah.
And what I like too is that by him being kind of just like goofy and ineffective, but that they play that element means that it's even more insulting that both Virgil and Richie are failing going up against him. Mm-hmm. Because like they should be able to take him on so easily because he's such a joke.
So much collateral damage.
Well, Richie rams a tram into the superstructure of a water slide and collapses the whole thing.
I will say, as someone that visits Disney as frequently as I do, trams max out at 15 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I don't think they have enough force to knock out a full support beam like that.
Absolutely not. No, you could not generate.
How dare they
enough
mess
kinetic
up the
energy?
physics
Yeah.
in this cartoon.
The only time they've ever done it.
The only time.
The only time. Yeah, I mean it. So I'm kind of curious, like from your perspective, like what do you think? Like where was Richard coming from? Like what do you think was making him so upset?
I think one, splitting the time between him and Daisy. Mm-hmm. I don't think for the cartoon character, I don't think that was like the main threat for him, but that was kind of like the subconscious threat for him. But also like he wants to live as close to a superhero life as he can. Yeah. So he's constantly making these new inventions, constantly being like, hey, let's try out something. Let's do something new.
Yeah, let's do training. Let's go practice at HQ.
Yeah. He wants to be that hero.
Because he's trying to kind of live the life, but he doesn't really have the cost of it, which Virgil does, which is like he actually, one, has to be the one on the front lines, but two, like he has to be the one actually out on patrol all the time. And like, you know, that's a pretty common thing we see with superhero stories. Like when you become the superhero, you start to kind of yearn for the normal things that everyone else gets to take for granted.
Yeah. But then at the same time, Richie knows the responsibility they have.
Yeah.
And so he's like, hey, we can't, like, you gave up that life because we now kind of work for the city.
Yeah.
It's like we have to always be at our top in case something comes that we can't handle.
So, because I agree with all of that. And I think, like, again, you see that happen in real life. Like you said, it happened with your friend in middle school. And, like, everyone has, like, just strife that happens between friends. And it's usually just over, like, a lot of small little things. But also, you spend any amount of time, a substantial time with another person, like, conflict's going to arise. And with family, like, usually that just gets aired out. Or, you know, if you're super waspy like some of us, we just don't talk about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we never.
That's what a bottle of wine's for.
We never address it. Exactly. That's why we drink.
Exactly.
Although no one in my family really drinks.
What's the Mulaney joke? It's like, I handle it the Irish way. I just drink and then I die.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how some of us approach it. Yeah. But, you know, with friendships, it's hard. It's kind of hard to address that sort of conflict sometimes. You know, if, like, it's a romantic relationship, you're invested in kind of making it work. So, like, conflict is a natural state of it. But, like, you know, conflict between friends is often can be tough. So I like that they addressed it. And, you know, we've talked a little bit about that in the comics, Richie's gay, and in the cartoon, I think the writers have kind of said that that's how they envision the character, but there's not a lot of it there. But, you know, I could kind of read maybe a little bit of subtext there about, you know, if you're a teenager, you're gay, you're in the closet, like sometimes if you have like a straight male friend who then all of a sudden starts like having interest in a girl, like that can create some friction maybe sometimes a little bit. It's like you may unknowingly kind of subconsciously invest yourself in another person in a way that long term isn't healthy, and so when they start to have outside interests, so that just exacerbates an existing problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it never happened.
The
to me.
isolation issue.
Yeah, never happened to me. Never.
No, I can tell you this is totally from research you've done.
Yeah, I read about it on a tweet.
Yeah. I read about it on Tumblr.
Tumblr's dead.
It's still up.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it died.
No. They're trying to kill it.
Oh, okay.
No.
Long live Tumblr, I guess. I don't know.
Long live Tumblr.
I don't know.
What else do we want to talk about with this episode?
Can we talk about the fact that Slipstream goes by the name Heavy C until he becomes Slipstream?
That's a great name.
I mean, he's a big guy.
Yeah. He could have been Heavy Flow.
That's not. Why? Like, was it part of the joke to make him so big and then also have like wind powers?
I think so. Well, yeah, because there's even that moment where, you know, Static and Richard are fighting at the water park, and Static looks over. He's like, "Where'd the guy go?" Where he's like, "A guy like that shouldn't be able to move that fast."
Yeah.
And yeah, then we learn he can fly. But yeah, I think that's part of the joke is you have the lightest villain be the heaviest villain.
Heaviest guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, he's fine. I think he's like a great villain of the week.
He is. Well,
he's fun.
I don't know if he's a great villain of the week. I think he's a great villain to bring in to make the rest of the story work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not something I ever need to like see reappear.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if he does, like, I would want to just be like in the background. It's kind of like a joke thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's part of like the cold open or something like that of the episode.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is bringing back up the point you had at the beginning of the episode conversation is having the character, like the main storyline be Richie and Virgil, where if you compare that to BTOS and the stuff we would constantly say about why those episodes were so good, is the villain story always came first.
Yeah.
And it never had to deal with Batman.
Right.
And then the story came from Batman injecting himself and how that has to change.
Yeah, you kind of feel like maybe with BTOS, they would start around a really good villain story, and then they would maybe layer in like a small B or maybe even like C plot around like a thematic thing having to do with Batman or Robin or something like that.
Yeah.
But the thrust of it was really the villain. I really feel like here they do the opposite. I really feel like they're like, hey, like what are things that teenagers actually go through? Like where is real conflict that comes about?
Mm-hmm.
Like what are real human stories? They write that, and then like, okay, well, how can we throw in a villain to make it all come together. And I mean, that's the better way to do it when you start with a really solid concept and theme and something really relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I mean, because if you think about like the production quality on this like isn't spectacular. Like a lot of it's still like really rudimentary in terms of its like its animation aesthetics, and even some of the designs are like not great. But every episode we've watched, I've still like been like, this is good. Like it's actually telling like a really good story, enough so that I don't necessarily care about some of the other minor things that are fantastic on it. I don't know. I really liked it.
Yeah, it's a great episode. It's a great show.
Yeah.
That's why I've been so excited for 3 years to talk about it.
Look, I get it. Like I had only seen a lot of this once when it originally came out, and I never revisited it.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
good.
we still have, I mean, the episodes I remember are only the good episodes, but we still have a lot to look forward to in
we
our
do.
4 seasons.
4 seasons of it. I actually don't have much else to say about
Oh,
this.
the new invention, he has the zap caps with him, which are basically electric grenades.
Yeah. I thought that was weird because
I don't think he ever uses them again.
well, even the way Richie pitches them, like I thought he said that like they were energy capture devices. So I guess that means like they capture static's energy.
Yeah. So static supercharges them.
Okay, and then they explode. Like I thought maybe they were going to be like energy absorbing grenades.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you would throw it at someone and it would absorb.
Like a Pokeball.
Kind of. Sure. I guess. I don't know. Something like that. But I guess they had to write that line in there to explain why later that static was able to draw energy out of them to then get back into the fight.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's a pretty good episode.
no, I really liked it. Anyone else?
I think that's all that I have for that one.
Thank you. I can't talk. All right. Bent Out of Shape.
Yeah, I forgot about this episode.
Actually, I thought you didn't because you made a comment about the arc of Rubberband Man.
Yeah. Well, I remember that he dated Sharon, sorry. I remember he dated Sharon. I forgot that he was this rapper though. Because once after this, so at the end of this episode, he goes to jail. He's out in a couple months because he's a good person again.
Yeah.
And then he goes by a different name after that. Different name and different look.
Oh, okay.
And that stays pretty consistent for the rest of the series.
Yeah, because here he's disguised essentially as this rapper Stringer.
Rapper,
Stringer.
he's
Forgive me.
Pianist.
Forgive me. You're right. Like the persona they build around him
is this
But you're
hardcore
right.
rapper.
You're right. He is because that's what he wanted to do originally, right?
Well, I mean, it was his beat that they stole, so I guess that makes sense.
He's just a musician.
Yeah,
but
yeah. they built him up to be like a Tupac impersonator.
It is that they definitely do.
Yeah,
and it is interesting that he would be so popular given that he plays really shitty synth piano music.
Yeah,
like
remember this is early 2000s.
Yeah,
but even then, I wasn't jamming out to Weird Al's accordion.
No, I mean I was.
Yeah.
But even like music of that era it's known for being like boppy and fun, and this is just like screeching.
Yeah,
kind of.
It's I feel like it's the same team from you know what these are. These are the leftover sound bites from Batman Beyond.
You're right.
They're just like
you're absolutely right.
Kids will like
whatever.
kids will
It'll be
get
fine. As I was listening to it, I was like, oh god damn it! Like my neighbor is like trying to drive down the street with their squeaky brakes. Like, oh no, that's the music coming out of the show.
I also think it's funny because if you think about the core audience watching this show, it's mostly 13 and under, and then maybe the parents of those kids. Mm-hmm. And so I think that has something to say of like this is the teen music. Of like neither of these demographics understand what teenagers are listening to.
Right.
And so it's just this weird like electric spectacle.
It's definitely the sort of music that were a parent to watch this, it would just further galvanize their perspective that whatever the kids like is shit.
Yeah.
It's like kids don't even like this. No kids are listening to this.
Yeah.
It's real bad music.
So at the beginning they go to this concert and the stagehand goes up to Stinger and is like, hey, the stage isn't big enough for the fireworks. We can't use them. He's like, no, I got to put a show on for my fans. They use the fireworks, and it sets the whole place ablaze.
Yeah. And then Static saves everyone by tearing open a load-bearing wall.
Yeah.
During a fire. Mm-hmm. Brilliant.
Yeah. He thought it through.
Yeah. But, I think what makes this episode interesting is the dynamic between Sharon and Rubberband Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because we really haven't spent a lot of time with Sharon at all. She's just kind of this, like,
yeah, this is our first main episode with her.
Yeah, otherwise she's just kind of in the background, and, it's mostly done from Virgil's POV, so she's just kind of like, the bossy, annoying older sister.
And then every now and then we get Pops coming in.
Yeah. But
Mr. Hawkins.
I really liked that dynamic of, she really does like this guy, but you can tell that she also feels morally strained. Like, she's being told by the rest of her family, by both her dad. Like, especially coming from the dad, it's hard for her. Because, like, Virgil's Virgil, whatever. He's always going to be, like, an annoying younger brother.
Yeah.
But coming from, Mr. Hawkins, who is not only this very respected figure in general, but, like, obviously his kids have a lot of respect for him, too.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to...
also him... I think it was important showing that he, like, the community center shot.
Yeah.
Like, his job is to see the good in people. Mm-hmm. And then you have this, bias coming in immediately. Like, no, he can't be a good guy.
But even then he's... And I guess I'm correcting us kind of immediately. Now that I think back on it, it's like he's not actually that opposed to him as a bad guy. Like, Virgil sees it very black and white. Of like, oh, he's a bad person. You got to avoid him. But the dad is actually much more... As long as he does his time and he, makes amends for what he's done, he can come back into society and, like, live a normal life.
Yeah.
But he's also not happy about it. Like, he's upset that all this attention is getting brought onto his daughter. He's got all these newscasters calling. I did love that moment when he just, like, yanks the phone off the wall. I was like, we're just going to leave this here for now.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's a good arc for Sharon, like, being put in this sort of spot. And obviously Virgil has to learn, too, to be a little bit more open-minded about... Rubberband Man, but, like, so does Rubberband Man. Like, at the end of it, he's the one that has to let go of his beef with Static.
Yeah, and he is always kind of the quick to anger character, and so, like, it all makes sense for every character.
Well, and for Sharon to call him out on that too. It's like keeping your cool, like, isn't one of your strong suits. Mm-hmm. So you have to figure out how to do this. Like, this is the only way forward is to, like, keep your calm and try and find a positive resolution here.
Yeah.
What did you think about Puff and Onyx?
I love Puff and Onyx.
Did they come back?
They do.
Okay. They were kind of odd to me.
They're very odd.
They fit the role they needed, which is, like, they had to bring in other Bang Baby antagonists so that you could shift Rubberband Man into that kind of more neutral gray space, heading towards being a good guy.
Well, what I love about them is they bring it up kind of in their opening line of, like, oh, we both dropped out of high school because now we're freaks.
Yeah.
But we're not heroes and we're not villains. So we're just kind of like these two wandering, kind of useless people.
Yeah.
That they don't have a place yet.
Yeah, they don't have a place to go. They don't have a home. They don't have food. They have nothing.
Mm-hmm. And that's important to see. Like, those kinds of people still exist in the city.
Yeah.
It's not black and white heroes and villains. Like, they're trying to technically do the right thing. Of, like, they become bounty hunters. Bang Baby bounty hunters.
Yeah. And I like that. Even for minor villains to bring in, they make the effort to give them something resembling, like, a sympathetic background.
Yeah.
Because it is important to do that. That all villains do become that way for a reason to some degree. Well, not
and all villains think they're in the right.
Yeah.
That's what makes them compelling.
Yeah. Except for Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Right. He's just bad.
He's just flat out bad.
What else do I have about them? So Puff. Yeah, we see her in the intro. Is she in this intro? I always forget.
I don't think so.
Okay, then we see her in the next intro.
Oh, when they do the re.
Yeah, so every season they switch out the villains you see in the intro.
Oh, okay, yeah, because this intro it's Hot Streak, it's the kid with the imagination powers. Who I've already forgotten his name. It's Rubberband Man, and it's
Ebon.
Ebon, thank you.
Yeah, so Ebon is always consistent.
Yeah.
There's one where Bird Girl, I already forgot her name. Talon comes in. That's the last one because that's where Gear is in.
Yeah.
The second one is when it's the stomping guy who we're gonna see soon.
Oh, I remember the stomping guy.
Yeah, the Jamaican rapper.
Yeah.
There's one with him, and then it's Puff. It's the two of them. And then the third one, I don't remember who the first villain is, but it's first villain, and then it's Talon, and then she's taken out by Gear, and then it's someone else, and then it ends with Ebon.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
It's season 3 when they did the redesign.
That's when gear comes in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I always liked that redesign look. It just felt a little bit more sophisticated.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else I really had. I didn't really have a lot of notes in this one. I really just kind of like sat back and watched it and just enjoyed it. I think the first episode we talked about, I think Winds of Change, I'm more invested in that story a little bit. I think that's a more compelling story about like the strife between friends.
Yeah.
I'm
excited for this episode just because like I know the Rubberband Man arc.
Yeah.
So like I'm always so invested in him because I know he's gonna come back.
I mean, it's a good version of that arc. We've seen that. I'm trying to think of who we've seen like become redemptive in that way. I mean, the Stalker kind of made a transition over the course of Batman Beyond, a little bit, but there was still like some antagonistic like friction there towards the end. I mean, Harley made an attempt, but didn't really see it
you
through.
could do the opposite one and say Terra in Teen Titans.
Yeah, that's true.
That starts off nothing, kind of becomes this outside character, becomes part of the team, villain, worst villain, small redemption, and Cameron cries.
And Cameron cries every time.
Every time. Terra,
Oh, Tara.
you're too good for us.
I need to go watch that stuff again.
Yeah, man, season 2 was so good.
Yeah, it's a good show. Trying to think what else I want to talk about with this episode. I don't know. I mean, it was good. Yeah, I don't know. It was good to spend some time with Sharon. I like that they're giving Rubberband Man like a bit of an arc, giving him his humanity.
Yeah, this is kind of like, it has a story, but I feel like this is more of a setup episode for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot to talk about yet, but you know, everyone comes back that we see. Yeah,
pretty good. All right. Well, shall we keep on moving here?
Let's do it.
All right.
Do we have any notes from fans?
Yeah. So I mean, we very kindly people have been sending us in a few questions actually, and I'm gonna kind of break it out and do like one at a time.
Okay.
One at a time, so we can actually spend a little time with them. But so we talked a little bit about on Sons of the Father, like that kind of comment that made at the very end about how like they're going to the Comic-Con with Richie's prejudiced dad, and how there's gonna be men in makeup too. And we just kind of made an offhand comment about that being like maybe they're acknowledging that he's like a little bit homophobic. And then of course like Maddie picked up on that, and so he wrote in and he says I have a note from friends! Exclamation point. He said, you guys picked up on something in this episode that I hadn't ever really thought of, re Mr. Foley potentially being a homophobe. After you guys mentioned that, it kind of struck me that perhaps Mr. Hawkins' line about how he would never truly know his son due to his narrow-mindedness may have been a hint towards Richie's sexuality. There's honestly probably a lot to unpack there, and following your brief coming out story on this pod, I'd love to hear your thoughts and Cam's thoughts on it as well. So I don't know, what do you think? Do you think that might have been like or do you think we're maybe digging a message out that wasn't intended to be there? Or do you think it may have been like a hint?
I think we're digging a message out that wasn't supposed to be there, but it is still a good message.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have to see gay things everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's inevitable.
Yeah. It comes with, so like for people who don't know, when you move into West Hollywood, they hand you a pamphlet.
They do.
And it's everything you can read into.
Yeah.
On how gay Hollywood is through.
But the thing that still confuses me is they don't tell me what I should read into about the rainbow sidewalk crossing. I'm like, what is this supposed to be? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's very pretty though.
It's so subtle. I don't know what it is.
Two casual bars right there.
Name them. What's the one I'm always talking about?
Hold on. I'm a better friend than this. Are you? I am. Hold on. It's I can't get Davy Wayne's out of my head, and I know it's not Davy Wayne.
It's not Davy Wayne's.
It's Blazing Saddles.
Close. A lot of people call it that. That's the movie.
Yeah.
What's the word? What's another word for blazing?
Flaming Saddles.
There we go.
It's Flaming Saddles.
She gets it.
I'm a better friend.
Can you name another bar down there?
Nope.
Okay.
Revolver.
Hey, well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my least favorite one. It's Revolver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah, see, you're a good friend. Yeah. I was tempted to pull you and list all of the gay bars in West Hollywood, but no.
The next Sporkle quiz.
The next Sporkle quiz we do. Oh, that would be a fun one, actually. Mm-hmm. Make you do that. No, but I mean, I think the way to look at that is that idea about not knowing a person, but let's be a little more narrow, but the idea of not knowing your kid because of narrow-mindedness, that is absolutely a universal message, right? And I think what is meaningful to take away there is that I think that's something that every like parent child has to go through eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I've like addressed it like little pieces here and there, but like for me, the challenge with coming out was like my also have now understand where my parents were coming from, because it wasn't great initially, but their whole thing was is they saw me as one kind of person, and by my coming out, it made them realize, oh, I'm not who they thought I was. And that's really what the conflict was for them, is they had this idea of like what my future looked like. And unsurprisingly, it very much mirrored their own. And so this sort of threw a wrench in that. But I now look back on that and realize, well, actually, that was a gift in a weird way, because every parent will have to have that realization with their kid at some point. I just forced it to happen from a very specific place. And I think that's a universal thing of like, we all kind of have, kind of singular perspectives on people. And I imagine neither of us are parents. But I imagine you definitely have that. Like, you see your kid in a certain light, and eventually you're going to have to be challenged by that notion and a certain idea. And I mean, that's really what that ultimately gets down to. And so that episode was, from a perspective of, bigotry, and prejudice. And we're now looking at it from the slight angle of like homophobia and an offshoot of the same sort of themes, but it's a universal thing at a certain point. Mm-hmm. So yeah, again, it speaks to why this show is so good. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for your note from friend.
Yeah. Thanks, Maddie. And then shall we move along to some plugs here?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's just do Knives Out.
Just do Knives Out?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's do some bat plugs here. So given that we've run a little long, we'll maybe make this kind of short. But we have both seen Knives Out.
We have.
At this point. So
we both enjoyed it for the most part.
Yeah. So I think brief section, no spoilers, then maybe get into some spoilers here.
Yeah. Okay. Cast is great.
Yes.
Love everyone.
Amazing cast. It's got a fun energy to it. This is, of course, a Rian Johnson movie. Like, he knows how to like kind of bring some fun effervescence to most of his works.
Yeah.
I just rewatched The Last Jedi. It's not good.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I love murder mysteries. Like, I love.
Me too. Because I saw it with my friend up in San Fran, and immediately when we left, went back to her apartment. I'm like, we just need to watch every whodunit film right now.
Like, I love a whodunit caper. I mean, I've talked about it before numerous times. Clue is my second favorite movie, and it's only by the thinnest margin behind Casablanca. Mm-hmm. I know, Cameron, you're not familiar with Clue at all. You don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's the board game, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm actually reading a book right now that I will plug once I finish reading it. But it's also like a locked room murder mystery. But like, nice. I love Agatha Christie. So like, and Then There Were None. Once also referred to as 10 Little Indians, and once previously referred to by an even more socially inappropriate name, which I won't repeat. I mean, that's the classic example, right? Of just like, someone's dead. It has to be this group of people who done it. I fucking love a whodunit. And so going in, I was hoping I would love this movie. Mm-hmm. I think you too were kind of
yeah. I mean, any Chris Evans film, I always have such high expectations.
Oh, I mean, not only it's a Chris Evans film, it's a Daniel Craig film.
Yeah.
It's a Toni Collette film, who I absolutely love. Christopher Plummer.
What's the...
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I have a lot to say about Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, she's so good in this.
And I was really hoping to love it. I came out of it going, I really liked that movie. Like, for me, it was a high 3-star film. I was kind of hoping it would be a 4, but it wasn't for me.
There was one thing at the end that I think would have put it over the top for me.
Okay. Should we just go ahead and do you want to go into like spoiler stuff? It's a hard movie to discuss that, like giving up some
I mean, it's a murder mystery. It's everyone is up for debate. Everyone thinks it's everyone else.
Yeah. But it's got spark. It's got energy, and it's clever.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. Definitely worth a watch. I didn't love it, but I would still highly recommend people go see it. Mm-hmm. Plus, also, it's nice to support an original property, and it's doing well. Like, it good. It's nice to see. Like, I think it. Again, I didn't love The Last Jedi. Like, I just rewatched it, and it really doesn't hold up very well for me. But I like Rian Johnson's filmmaker, and if him making that movie and it only being okay, if the best thing that comes out of it is that he is maybe able to get original stuff made on a bigger level, I'm totally here for it. Mm-hmm. So,
my small spoiler, I guess big spoiler, is I think they left it open for should have been Jamie Lee Curtis.
How so?
So the one loophole or plot hole that I found left in this is when they were talking about who could possibly get up to the room and back.
Yeah.
One of the points was when someone goes up and down the stairs, Jamie Lee Curtis wakes up. She woke up 3 times.
Yeah.
But no one else knows who went up and down the stairs. So what's stopping her from going up a 4th time?
I see what you mean. That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Because then, like, they have the whole reveal, and then it cuts to her at the very end. And I thought that's what it was going to be. Was like she was going to hide something that was the last piece of evidence to prove it was her. I don't think it would have worked out fully. I think we would have needed some drastic changes to the story.
Yeah.
But that was one thing that I was so fixated on.
Interesting.
Of like, yeah, what's telling us that she couldn't have gone up a 4th time?
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. That's a really good point. Yeah, point of order, I would call that more of a unresolved red herring than a plot hole per se.
Well, yeah, if they would have just focused on that in some way. Because like my complaint for the movie is they kind of cut out a lot of possibilities super early on.
Yeah.
And I wish, because they all had a motive, but none of them had like what's the word? Like an accessibility.
Sure. A means to kind of get there.
Isn't means a motive? Aren't they the same thing? They all wanted him dead.
Yeah, I feel like means is more like the avenue by which you commit the crime.
Okay, then yes, they didn't have a means.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because what's interesting is, I mean, it's Rian Johnson, so I was expecting a twist in the whole thing. So I was kind of waiting for some big twist reveal. And it turns out that like the twist on it isn't so much the story itself, because it's actually kind of a by the numbers murder mystery. Mm-hmm. What he twisted on was the structure of it. So we actually learned pretty early on that the murder, the thing that's trying to be hidden was the fact that his nurse
accidentally injected him with morphine.
Exactly. And oh my, how am I blanking on that actress's name? Because she's one of the Bond girls too. And she's great. It'll come to me. But yeah, she accidentally swapped his drugs and gave him an overdose of morphine. And so then the movie's actually really about her trying to prevent the detective trying not to get caught. Yeah, trying to keep Benoit Blanc, fantastically played by Daniel Craig, from discovering the truth. Mm-hmm. So that's what, but then it's like, oh, well, then where's he going to go with it? And so then it starts to like fall into place of like, oh, but there is still someone else who seems to know something, that someone's trying to like out her. And then the ultimate reveal, of course, is, well, we've already gotten the spoilers.
Yeah, Chris Evans.
Chris Evans did it, which kind of makes sense because he's a huge name. He's probably the second biggest name in that entire cast. Mm-hmm. And he's not in it for
Who do you think's
of
the
it.
bigger name? Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, I was actually Daniel Craig. But
yeah. I think they're pretty on par now.
Yeah, I would say probably.
I'd say like, I think the 3 of them are all pretty equal at this point.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
You think Jamie Lee Curtis is still ahead, or do you think someone's
I think she's a little bit behind, actually.
Okay.
If only because, I mean, I guess I would consider her A-list, right?
Yeah, I consider her A-list for sure.
I guess my hesitation on calling her A-list is I don't think she opens films.
Okay.
I feel like an A-list actor is someone who, whether they are successful at doing it or not, is deemed to be able to open a movie.
Well, didn't she open Halloween last year? And that did pretty successfully. The Halloween name.
I think her coming back to Halloween helped that be successful. But I mean, like movies get greenlit because a Daniel Craig is attached, because a Chris Evans is attached. I would say that it probably gets greenlit because Jamie Lee Curtis is attached to, but I don't know if she could open it on her own.
Got it.
That being said, I adore her.
Me too.
Absolutely love her, and she's great in this. But yeah, the reveal is that Chris Evans did it, and this is the one part for me that was a little bit kind of meh, is that he swapped the medicine on his own. So then when the nurse gave him the accidental overdose, this is a little bit weird. So it's like the liquids were swapped, and if she had done things the right way, would have killed him. Mm-hmm. But she accidentally did it the wrong way anyways. So it was like a double negative, so he didn't end up getting poisoned.
Right.
But she only did it the right way by giving the right liquid, because like she was such a good nurse that she like picked up like the minor changes, like the viscosity of the 2 liquids.
Yeah, the weight was different.
That to me was like a little bit.
I can see that. I understand the difference between the weight of a single stuff and a double stuffed Oreo.
Fair. Best answer possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see any difference between those two scenarios.
I mean, I guess they did that so that she was completely off the hook.
Yeah.
Um,
And to show that, like, she's a good person.
and she's a good nurse and a good person. Yeah. But like that to me was a little bit odd. But I like that it still had some like twists and turns to deliver. But I was also expecting something big because I was listening to, you can check off your bingo box now, the Empire podcast.
Great. And check.
Yep, there we go. Yeah, I already have for you Pokemon.
Yep.
Disney parks.
Got it.
Yep. You participate in a conversation about who's the most handsome.
Got it.
Yes.
Check.
But
One more and it's a free Sunday.
oh, I'm so close. They on that podcast they were talking about Joker, and they were debating about whether the whole movie was inside his head or not, right? Which is one read on that thing, and one of the hosts made a comment like, "Oh yeah, but that's not this kind of movie. It's not Knives Out." And the movie hadn't come out yet. I'm like, "Oh fuck! Like, did you?" And like, I was trying to give them benefit of the doubt that they would have cut that out if it was actually a spoiler for Knives Out. But I'm like, wait, fuck! Did you guys accidentally just spoil Knives Out? Like, is the whole reveal that I was waiting for it to be some crazy thing, like because he's a mystery writer, the guy who dies. Like, oh, is it going to be a story about him writing his next murder mystery?
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, or like, is it a thing where it's maybe even the detective, where it's like inside his head and he's imagining all these things? Like, I was waiting for some like really big, crazy meta reveal. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that they didn't go down that path because it might have been a bit too obvious. But then also my expectations for something big and like some big twist was high, and so that it didn't quite hit it. Mm-hmm. Which I guess
the twist. There was one line that kind of cut my idea twist out. Mm-hmm. And it's when they're at the diner, and Chris is like, "Oh, yeah, I knew you had this throw up problem since the game night."
Oh,
if
yeah.
that line wasn't there, I thought that was the red herring. I thought she knew what was going on the whole time, and was tricking people into thinking that she had to tell the truth because she would always throw up if she lied, and the whole time she was lying about everything and forcing herself to throw up to cover her tracks.
I loved that mechanic in the story.
Yeah.
Because it's so weird and off kilter,
it's
but
so funny.
But believable. Like, it's just heightened enough that it only kind of works in a movie, but it still works. Mm-hmm. I really like that idea that if she can't lie because it makes her throw up.
Yeah.
And that it has a payoff in the finale, too, I thought was really fantastic. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I do have a question for you, and this was a question from my friend Cody, you've met.
Yes.
And he asked me about specifically the scene where it's the flashback to the family having the argument about politics. Mm-hmm. And he said that what upset him about that was not that they were having a conversation about politics, because I think it's fair that you and I and him and probably most people listening to this are on the left side of these sort of debates, but they're having a conversation about, like, Toni Collette's character makes a comment like, "Oh, they're putting kids in cages," and Don Johnson's character is kind of that, like, coming to conservatism from like an ignorant perspective sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he said that the one thing that bothered him about it was that conversation really not only grounded it in our world, but in our time specifically. And that it took him like out of the story a little bit because it planted it so firmly in a version of reality that's so close to our own. I was curious if you had a similar experience with that scene.
No, I was pretty in the movie the whole time I was there. Mm-hmm. I think there is something to say about how cartoonish our reality is.
There's that.
Yeah. That it's hard. I mean, it's the point that we make in the most recent. Was it in Young Justice or was it in the most recent DC animated film, where they had to rewrite Lex Luthor to be more like Trump because Lex Luthor wasn't evil enough in the film?
It was. I think Young Justice. Yeah. That he was sometimes like
they had to heighten him to a Trumpian level.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes he was like spot on Trumpian, but a lot of times he fell short. Mm-hmm. Of the particular brand of megalomania that we have to deal with on a daily basis.
Probably the most famous villain, maybe besides Joker, having to heighten himself.
It's not quite there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it didn't really quite.
No, I was fine with it.
Okay, yeah. It for me, I had a little bit of that moment. I was like, it put it very firmly in like our current time and place, which otherwise this film would have had this sort of like kind of timeless quality to it. But no, overall I quite enjoyed it. I recommend.
Same.
Go see it, people. All right. Shall we?
Let's wrap it up.
All right. I know. Somehow we came in on time despite having a 45-minute long conversation about news. But we always appreciate you guys listening. Thank you so much. We would really appreciate it if you would write us a nice review on iTunes.
Yes.
It's very helpful for getting some sort of metrics thing up. I don't know how it all works, but it's supposed to be an important thing.
Yeah.
So we'd appreciate it. And also appreciate we getting questions from folks like we did from...
Yes, please continue sending them in.
Yeah, from Maddie and from Benjamin, so please do so. But if you want to reach us, we are at Timm Talk Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Gmail.
Yes. You can find me if you want to see my archived art page. You can find that at Cameron.Dexter. Yeah, that's the
Stop
one.
and think about it for a sec.
And if you want to see my face and everything attached to it, you can find that at CamDexter_adventures.
Boom, boom, boom. And you can find me at Lordifer on Twitter and Instagram, where you can occasionally see me forwarding stories that the people have taken onto my own, because I don't take any of mine.
Yay!
Okay, I have a final question for you. Did you have a moment going into this where you're like, we're worried you were going to forget how to do some things? Like, I was worried I was going to forget how to do the outro because it had been so long.
No, it's so inane at this point. It's so just set in our system.
Well, I would think that after like 160 some odd total episodes that it would be sort of automatic.
Yeah.
But you know me, I love to get my own head and get tripped up. I was convinced I was going to fuck up the outro somehow.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
It didn't happen. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Superhero Static Shock.
Oh, we forgot.
No, I did it. You forgot.
I still fucked up the outro.